Today we're going to be working on parallel and perpendicular lines. Let's go over the definitions again. Remember, parallel lines, it's in the name, are lines that never touch. Never touch. That's the most important part. Never touch, sorry. And they have the same slope. Same slope. Sorry, that's my timer. Which is your M value. Okay? Perpendicular lines make this perfect little square. They touch once, and they have the opposite slopes. So, for an example, say you have 3 over 4. It actually would change. We're going to flip it. So 4 over 3, and then you would change the sign. So this one's positive, it would change to a negative. And this would be your new slope. That's something important to know, okay? Something important to know. And say you have 1/2. You would flip it, and become 2 over 1, which is actually 2, And then this one was positive, so it changes to a negative. This is your new slope. So let's try some examples. It says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the x-axis at 6 and is parallel to y equals 3 over 4x plus 6? Now, we can do this two ways. We can do it in the calculator, or we can do it in Desmos, because they're all y equals. So one thing, let's look for the important word first. We know parallel. We never touch. Never touch. Or same slope. So if I'm looking at this equation right here, my slope is 3 over 4. I want the same slope. So look at all your answer choices. What numbers with x? What numbers with x? The only ones that have 3 over 4 are C and D. So we're going to eliminate A and B. Now, we have x-axis at 6. So when it touches the x-axis at 6, you're creating a point, which is actually 6, 0. Okay? 6, 0. So we can either do true or false, or graph it. So let's try true or false real quick, and then I'll show you graphing. So true and false, you have x and you have y. So anywhere you see a y, you're going to place with 0, 0. Any place you see an x, you're going to place with 6, 6, 6. So we're going to go to our calculator, and we're going to type in it exactly how we see it. Parentheses 0 equals 3 divided by 4, control divide, 3 divided by 4, 6, in parentheses plus, control divide, 9 divided by 2, and that gives you false. So let's do the same thing for D. Parentheses 0 equals control divide, 3 divided by 4, parentheses, 6, minus control divide, 9 divided by 2, enter, and that gives you true. So you can either do it by true and false, or you could have typed everything in Desmos. Y equals 3 divided by 4, x plus 9 divided by 2. Then y equals 3 divided by 4, x minus 9 divided by 2. And the only one that touches 6, 0 is the blue line, which is answer choice D. So, same thing over here with this one. It says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the x-axis at 6, 0, and is perpendicular? Perpendicular means we take the slope, 3 over 4, and we flip it. So it's now going to be 4 over 3, and you change the sign. This one is positive, so this is going to be negative. We are looking for the slope, so we would eliminate C and D. Now, we're just going to type them into Desmos because that's a little bit easier. Y equals negative 4 divided by 3x. And I want to see which one goes through 6, 0. Again, you can do this with true and false. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. Whatever you think is easiest, and the only one that touches is answer choice B. So let's try another one. It says, okay, the graph of line W is shown below. Which equation describes a line parallel to W that contains the point -2, -2? So I know we're looking for parallel. This slope right here is going down, so that's a negative slope, negative. So I know my slope is going to be negative. It has to be negative. So looking at my slopes, the only two that are negative are A and C. So we're going to get rid of B and D. We're going to get rid of B and D. And we're looking at A and C. We're going to do true and false. So you have X, Y. So you have -2, -2. Oh, that's a little hard to read. So you have Y equals -2, X minus 6. And wherever you see a Y, you're going to put -2. Wherever you see an X, you're going to put -2. Same thing for this one. Y equals -2, X plus 7. Anywhere you see a Y, you'll put -2. Anywhere you see an X, you'll put -2. We'll just do true and false real quick. So you have parentheses -2 equals -2, parentheses -2, and there's a lot of -2s, minus -2. That gives you false. So now let's try C. You have parentheses -2 equals -2, parentheses -2, stop, plus 7, enter. That gives you false as well. Oh, I messed up. It's actually, see, this is why we write it. It's supposed to be -6. So let's change this to -6. My bad. So let's try A again. -2, parentheses -2, equals -2, parentheses -2, minus 6. Enter. True. That's why we want to write everything down so you know what you messed up. A. Little mistakes. I still make them. But anyways, next one is same question, but we're looking for perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular means you flip and change sign. This is important. Flip and change sign. So I know my slope is negative. If we're changing the sign, it goes from negative to positive. So looking at all of our slopes, our only two positive slopes are B and D. So get rid of A and C because we're looking for positive. So we're going to try true and false. You have Y equals 1 over 2x minus 3. Okay. And you have Y equals 1/2 parentheses x minus 1. Let me be a little careful this time. X and Y. So anywhere you see an X or a Y, you're going to place with -2, -2. And we're just going to do true and false real quick to see what our answer is. So you have parentheses -2 equals control divide 1/2 -2 minus 3. That gives you false. Then for our next one, we have negative parentheses -2 equals control divide 1 divided by 2 -2 minus 1. That gives you true. So my answer would be D. That's the only one that gives me true. If you would have done this question together, and just done true and false, you would have gotten true for A and D. That is why it is so important to know the definitions of parallel and perpendicular. So, one more. This is very important. Definitions. What is the equation in standard form of a line that passes through the point 6, -1 and is parallel to the line represented by 8x plus 3y equals 15? Remember, parallel means same slope. And this one's kind of different because you don't have a slope, but you have 8x plus 3y. So we want this to kind of be the same. We want 8 to be with x and we want 3 to be with y. So let's look. Let's look at all the x's and let's look at all the y's. We just want 8 with x. 8 with x. This is 3. This is 3. And we have 3y. That's good. That's good. So now we can do true and false. So we have x and we have y. We're going to do 8x plus 3y equals -45. Put our parentheses. Then we're going to rewrite the other one. 8x plus 3y equals 45. Anywhere I see an x, I'm going to replace with a 6. Anywhere I see a y, I'm going to replace with a -1. -1. And you cannot do these in Desmos. These you have to do with true and false. So, now true and false time. 8 parentheses 6 plus 3 -1 equals -45. Enter. That gives you false. Now let's try the next one. 8 parentheses 6 plus 3 parentheses -1 equals positive 45. That gives me true. So my answer would be C. Can't do in Desmos. Can't do it in Desmos. All right, for the next one, same question, but it says perpendicular. Same question, but it says perpendicular. For perpendicular, remember, flip and change sign. So we have 8 with x. So now I want 8 to be with y. We want 8 to be with 8y. Okay? Then we have 3y, and I want that to actually be with x, so 3x. Okay? So we're going to get rid of these up top so we don't have to look at them. We're looking for 8y, and then 3x. So I know that these can't be my answers, so let's eliminate them. And then 8y. Now we're going to do true and false, like we've been practicing. So we have 3 parentheses x minus 8 parentheses y equals -26. 3 parentheses x minus 8 parentheses y equals positive 26. So anywhere we see x, we're going to replace with a 6. So eliminate these and write 6. Anywhere we see a negative or y, we're going to put -1. Then we're going to do true and false real quick. 3 parentheses 6 minus 8 parentheses -1 equals -26. Enter. That gives you false. So let's try D. 3 parentheses 6 minus 8 parentheses -1 equals 26. That gives you true. So my answer would be D. And that's what we're doing today. Have a great day. If you need help, let us know.